So let's go back to a conversation between her parents in 1963. John, I want to go to that march in Washington, D.C. with that Martin Luther King. Oh, Bill, I don't think you should. It's really dangerous, well, for white and black people. But John, it's the right thing to do. But Mill, what if something happens to you? I can't raise our 9 children alone. So instead, the girl's mother stayed in Wilmington and helped desegregate the theaters and the lunch counters and the Catholic Church. 2 years later, in 1965, she took her children out of the parochial schools and into the public schools. The girl was in 2nd grade. The schools were a beautiful mosaic of Christian and Jew, rich and poor, ebony and ivory. The girl learned about Hanukkah. She was curious about the black girls. She wondered if their urine was the same color as hers. The black girls were curious about her. When she leaned over the water fountain to get a drink, they would stroke her hair, which was blonde then and fine, and they would say, "So soft." Everyone lived in perfect harmony until 1968, when a single bullet changed everything. After the assassination of Martin Luther King, riots broke out in Wilmington, Delaware. Frightened whites took flight. Ebony and ivory people took their kids out of the public schools. The girl's mother was on the school committee at this point, and she said, "I think it's hypocritical to have my children in private schools when I'm on the school committee." So the girl went to 7th grade. She was one of a handful of white kids in the whole school. The girl wanted to please her mother. She thought she was doing the right thing. But it was hard, especially Monday mornings. She would often wake with a stomach ache, and she'd throw up. She was afraid of going to school again and getting bullied. In the classrooms, in the cafeteria, in the hallways, in gym. But the girl wanted to please her mother. So she stayed and she learned to cope. Worse than the bullying was the loneliness. She ate lunch alone. She walked to school alone because no one came from her neighborhood anymore. She longed for a place to belong, but she was too different, too white, too smart, too interested in learning, too healthy. One day in high school, though, her alto saxophone found her a place to belong. Because every marching band can use someone who can march and play a tune at the same time. She could almost do both at the same time. The band gave her a uniform anyway, and they embraced her. They put a window in the color wall. And Mr. Steve Alder Rogers, band director of the P.S. DuPont Marching Dynamiters, welcomed her. He was one of the few teachers, ebony and ivory, in that school who would reach and teach the students. He would say to them, "You will show up to practice on time. You will get white shoes and polish them for inspection. You will learn your part, and if you don't learn your part, I will play my trombone right here by your ear. So you will get it." And the band did get it. And when they went to away games, the girl would be the first one to get on the bus. She was very conscientious, and she would sit down in her seat by the window and watch the tubas get on the bus, the huge drums, and the trumpets, and the clarinets, and the flutes. Then maybe the stragglers would get on the bus, because there's nowhere else to sit. So it was hard. And the girl never knew the impact of her one-student integration campaign until Phyllis Watson. Phyllis Watson had pledged to join the VID00026 sorority, which was a service sorority in the high school. And the girl was assigned to be Phyllis's big sister for the month-long initiation. Phyllis already had a baby. Phyllis didn't smile much from behind her tinted glasses. She only looked or spoke to the girl when absolutely necessary. The girl hoped that Phyllis would see beyond her skin and judge her by the content of her character. So the girl did not return the malice, the hatred. And a few weeks later, at graduation, Phyllis wrote in the girls' yearbook, "Susan, if color made a difference, we wouldn't be friends." Well, that was news to me. But she had changed in her heart. And then she had told me. And that was a gift. And I had given her the gift of not returning the hatred and the malice. And we had both lived Martin Luther King's words to judge someone by the content of their character. And Martin Luther King also said, we must practice and maintain, develop and maintain the art of forgiveness. For those who do not have the power of forgiveness are devoid of the power of love. So I tell you that story as an introduction to a talk on white